Man, it's that old thing, perseverance, consistency, hard work. My goal is to put the same work into, my businesses, my family that I put into football, and I've been running with that mantra since I got married back in '97, that if I'm going to have a successful marriage, I got to, the same hard work and same consistency and discipline I had on the football field, I got to put in my marriage and with my kids and with my businesses and all that. So it teaches you a lot, man. How to deal with your fellow man and not look at his color, but look at what he can do for the overall good of what you're trying to accomplish. So sports to me in general is just an incredible deal. When you talk about football specifically, because of the closeness of guys, I just believe it's an amazing sport.
Welcome to another edition of Talking Ball with the Czar. I'm Emory Hunt, the Czar of the Playbook, on the campus of Alabama State University with head football coach Donald Hill-Eley. Coach, I appreciate you taking time.
I appreciate you having us.
You jumped into the middle of the season as an interim head coach, taking over an 0-5 team, and things looked bleak, and you instantly turned those guys around, going 5-1 to finish the season. What did you see at practice or throughout the course of the season that let you believe that, hey, we can get this thing turned around pretty quickly?
Well, I think after being in the profession so long, you constantly making assessments. And one of the things of being a good leader is being a good follower. So you make an assessment, you see things that you would do a little different. You make an assessment of games, the games that we lost, how could we close them out, personnel, who could be better in another position. And then when I had the opportunity to step in as the leader, then those assessments that I had made, throughout, I had a chance to implement that and set the philosophy on, and it worked out for us.
Yeah, you saw the guys really start to buy in quickly. Did you have to really alter your message, or you really just got guys to focus on the task at hand?
I always say that, sometimes you have to address the spiritual part of the person first, and as long as they understand that you're for them, they tend to buy in. These guys, they didn't want to be 0-5, and they was already down. You figure everywhere you go on campus, everybody's telling you, asking what's the problem. So you have to have some positive. So we started reinforcing and speaking positive, showing them, the little plays that they weren't successful in. Rather than showing them those, we start showing them plays that they had success, and ask them to give that effort to get that same result, and then we'll count those efforts in as wins at the end of the game.
A lot of people may not know that you had a lot of success in the CFL, 3 Grey Cup championships you were a part of, and now in this era of football, I think we're starting to see a little bit of crossover. I talked with Mike Kelly, the coach at Widener, who explained some of the things that he sees in the passing game. What parts of the CFL game have you seen translate, and do you use some of what you learned there into what you're doing here at Alabama State?
Yeah, most definitely. The CFL is as we call it up there, wide open fast game. You got 3 downs opposed to the United States 4 downs. The field is 65 yards wide opposed to the 53 1/3. The field is 120 yards long opposed to 100. So, the thing that you have to do in the CFL to win, you have to have great special teams. You have to have great special teams. You see now that everybody's talking about these RPOs, which is this run-pass option. I had an opportunity to work with Tracy Ham and Doug Flutie and Andre Ware and those guys was doing that stuff back in '94, '95. It was just called something different. So the game itself, it evolves, and it's just like a plaid suit. Is outdated right now, but hell, in 10 years it'll be right back. So you hold on to it, change the buttons, but it's going to be the same old suit.
And you talk about that level of success, talking with guys that have had success, both in the college game, pro game, CFL, NFL. Success really has been your calling card. You were successful at Morgan State, you were successful in the CFL, and you've had instant success here. What, let's say from a philosophy standpoint, does it take to be a successful coach?
Well, the thing it takes is realizing that that you're not really trying to invent the wheel. I've read a lot on Eddie Robinson, Jake Gaither, and when you learn that about the game itself, the game is you either gonna play cover 2, cover 3, cover 1, or you gonna run the ball or throw the ball. It's the person that puts all of that together, and it's almost like taking a loaf of bread but making it from the construction of the flour, the egg, and the milk. You can either throw it together and cook it, now you got a bunch of lumps, but it's still bread. Or you can take your time and beat that batter, put the right ingredients in at the right time. And what you put in it, it can be the same thing, but how you treat it is going to determine how your loaf is either lumpy or nice and smooth. So it's that same philosophy with coaching, that it's not too many ways that you can do it. You have to always set the purpose and goals up front, that the purpose of college football is to use it as a vehicle of educating our men on the other side of campus. So it shouldn't be anything any different from outline and game plan and goals that's set in the biology class. That you get an outline, here's your book that you're going to follow, and these are the tests that you're going to take, which are your games on Saturday, and the outcome, you want to be able to have some success on the end with victories, not just in the win column, but in men, to be able to use this game to teach them how to endure through struggles, to teach them how to finish, and to teach them how to stay a part of the unity that's going on, because that unity that they have on the team will eventually be a family. And not all the time you're going to win everything on the schedule, but you can't just leave your family. So we try to use that holistic approach when it comes to coaching. I've always done it everywhere that I've been, that I'm doing more than coaching football. I'm taking this game of football and I'm building a society, or I'm implementing everything that I can to make our guys better men once they leave, and better citizens. So the success comes from understanding what your purpose is, and then having a blueprint of what you're doing. To every day when I come to work, I understand what I'm working to. So I'm not just coaching football. I know this day leads to another day to make these guys better. That day leads to another day to make the guys better. This day leads to competing, winning, and now the cycle goes on and on.
Having coached where you've coached, and for the length of time you coached, I don't mean to date you, but you've coached for a while, and you often see young coaches jump in and jump right out after a year or so. They don't like it, they totally disassociate themselves with football. But for you, it shows that you have a lot of love and a lot of passion for the game. What is it about the game that you love the most?
Well, the thing that I love about the game is what it afforded me, first of all. I'm a little country boy, grew up in Virginia, grew up in a house. My grandmother raised me with 16 people in the house. I was in between, her children and some cousins that she was raising as well. My mom was 15 when I was born. I was in between, so I was the 8th of the 16. And of the 8 before me, only 2 had finished high school. None really was scholastic, played sports. The other never even finished high school. My mom, at that time, when I was going through high school, my mom was in prison. So it gave me an opportunity that I could go one or two ways. We were impoverished, my mom was incarcerated, my dad wasn't around. I could either pick up a gun or pick up a football. I picked up a football. And by picking up that football and making good choices, I was afforded an opportunity to go to college, which gave me an opportunity to set the standard for the ones that came behind me to make it different. Football gave me an opportunity that I wouldn't have had. We didn't have a college savings. So as these young men come through this program, I let them know it's not about what you come from, it's about where you want to go. We all are given opportunities, and we all start off at a start, whether it's good or bad. But the thing that you have to understand, if you spiritual enough to know that the good Lord gives you everything that you need. He gave, the same way he gave Daniel the 5 rocks, he gave you everything you needed. If you needed a silver spoon, he'd have gave you a silver spoon. But because of your strength, it's what you've gone through to prepare you for what you're about to have. I never would have known that the game of football and making those choices to play the game of football propelled my life different than the buddies that grew up with me, who 2 are still in prison for the rest of their life. They chose the latter, and not that it was any difference for them. We both had an opportunity and a choice to make. They wanted to make their choice where they created their world. Now they pay the consequences. I made a choice that I wanted to make something different. I wanted to be able to sleep and not have to worry about the police knocking at my door in the middle of the night. And the consequences of that paid off too with the success and being able to have a family and being able to have a career. So the game of football to me is much more valuable, and it's much more than just a game of cleats and crowd noise and tailgating. The game for me, I know, and it's the same for a lot of the personnel that I get, whether they fatherless, whether they poor and impoverished, it doesn't. This game is an opportunity of a threshold that separates you from success and failure. And so when I treat it that way every day I come in, because I know what it meant for me, and I know that without that game, then I could have been that penitentiary guy. But with this game, it changed my life, which has changed my son's life. My son is now in college. My younger son is, he talks about college. The game gave me an opportunity to change the whole generation of that's following me. So it's much more than football to me. So I love of what the game can do beyond the crowd noise. I love what the game can do beyond the tailgate and all that smoke on the grill. I love the game for what it has afforded me in my life, and it's basically a living purpose.
I feel like right now we're in the third golden era of HBCU football. I'm starting to see the talent just increase across the board in the SWAC and also in the MEAC and other Division II conferences. But in particular, with this conference, with this program, how important is HBCU football in the total landscape of college football, and where do you think this thing can continue to grow as we move forward?
Well, again, as a person who have studied HBCUs and football, HBCUs and the game, and I should just say HBCUs in the era, it was set because we had nowhere else to go. All right. Then it evolved into a choice of whether you wanted to go, and people chose to go other places because of resources and because of not so much of the experience, but they wanted to go because of the glitter. And now we're reaching an era that the purpose of HBCUs is in the forefront, that what we offer from our classrooms, from the resources that we had, and as Eddie Robinson used to always say, we've always had less and done so much more. And now that young men and women are seeing that camaraderie that presents itself on HBCU campuses, where the professors are trying to save generations of people from not having educations, and there's a lot more nurturing that goes on. So you're seeing people now making the choices to come back to HBCU because they want that experience, or they want that nest feeling to help them mature into becoming great adults. So as you look at now, you see these Power Fives, they get the cost of attendance. So now when you go in the homes, it used to be, well, do we get our pay-o? So the HBCUs, we caught up with that. So now, yes, you get your pay-o check, and you get to live off that. Now they done stepped it up again. Do we get cost of attendance, where now you got these young men walking around getting $2,200, $2,400 checks a month. Mm-hmm. And now it becomes a thing about revenue. Do I choose the HBCU because it's the best thing for me, or do I choose the latter because it's going to put money in my pocket now? I may not have a great experience, but I'll be paid. As I say, you're being paid while you pretty much in a situation that that's not going to nurture you to where you need to be in the end. But for those that come, in this era, they'll have the experiences of the grandfathers and the aunts and everyone else. And the thing that I always say, you can go to a PWI homecoming, and ain't a whole lot of folks come back. But if you come to a HBCU, you're going to see wheelchairs, walkers, and brand new shoes as you come back, because everybody comes back to support their school and have a good time, and come, as they say, coming home to see the nurturing and the growth from whence they've come.
Coach, I took a walk around campus, and it's a beautiful campus. This is my first time here. Outstanding facilities. I believe this program is definitely on the rise. I call it a sleeping giant. Students now have a ton of options. I think the world has gotten smaller. Everyone is on TV or some sort of streaming device. Why would a student athlete choose Alabama State?
Well, as you alluded to before, the resources that are here. You see the buildings, the facilities, and You see the environment as you walk across campus. The students happy to be here. When you go into the classroom sizes are roughly 30 to 40, so teachers are calling you by name rather than number. The opportunities that presents itself from this region, great weather, where you can, if you're coming here as an athlete, you can train. If you're just coming to get out of the cold, it's a great, and it's a safe environment. So as they say, it's not a sleeping giant. We just one of those, the hornet, when it get cold, the hornet goes back into his little nest. But we warming up and it's time to swarm, and we're gonna come out, baby, and that hornet is gonna be the best thing on this region.
Coach, listen, I followed you from your career in Canada, saw what you were able to do with the Hornets this season, and I'm just excited to see what you guys got planned for this upcoming season and moving forward. So we wish you the best of luck. Appreciate you taking time.
All about a state of mind, baby.